Guys, what's up? It's day 126. It's our journey to build a $1 million software company. This was a really meaty week. Product hunt prep, customer onboarding emails, privacy and terms, auditing some of the tools I'm using, and some marketing updates. Let's dive into it. I mentioned this before, but Product Hunt has been something that I've been looking forward to since the beginning. Product Hunt is very fun. It's fun to launch a product in Product Hunt. You get a lot of discussions. It's a good way to just spike the punch and get things going. I've launched personally on Product Hunt many times and I've had some good success there, but it's been about 6 years. Things have changed a lot. So I've been reading a lot of blogs about how to have a successful launch. Some people work for months on this, like literally 4 months. You can tweak your strategy and offering all day long, but eventually you just need to do it. Product Hunt is a huge opportunity. Don't get me wrong about that, but also it's just one point on the data set of your journey. So don't get too overwhelmed by it. We want a good launch, but if it doesn't go perfectly our way, we can't let that be the thing that makes us quit. We have to stick to it. Best case scenario for Product Hunt, you show up on launch day with a big audience. People already been using your product. You've got beta users, you've got paying users maybe, and you can email your whole list and say, help support us. But I'm not gonna have that. I'm gonna have a much smaller audience. And I've been trying to grow the audience and get it ready, but eventually you just gotta do it. So here's why I'm gonna launch in the next 12-ish days instead of waiting even longer to build that audience up. So first of all, I've already been trying and it's been slow going. So I've posted on Reddit, indie hackers, participated in Product Hunt discussions. I've been on Twitter. I think it's going well, but I don't have a gigantic list. I'm giving away an amazing deal, which is going to be a lifetime free account to Snaptro. So that sets the bar on friction to be very low for people who see this product on Product Hunt. I've got a pretty good story since I've been doing the whole thing publicly on YouTube, and I've got this fun little, I'm running the whole product off of Replit and Airtable backend. It's just kind of an exciting entrepreneurial thing. So I think that will hook people a little bit, and people love a good story about building a business. And then also, this is meant to stoke the fires and get things started because I don't really come with an audience from the beginning. So how long do I really wait for this step? There's going to be more product launches in the future. New teammate is the main goal anyway. Snaptro is sort of this side quest that I've been working on. So I want to clarify my goals and expectations. I think this is a really smart thing to do before a Product Hunt launch, is to get your mind straight about what could possibly happen from this and not to get too overwhelmed. My goals, number one, just to put myself out there. I've been trying to be as public as I can, but nothing gets you out in the world like a Product Hunt launch. Actually shipping a product and putting it in front of people for feedback is the best thing, and Product Hunt is a big way to do that. Number two is validate if Snaptro could be a real thing or if it's just kind of a fun idea. Remember that this was a side quest that came from building New Teammate. I think it's going to be a nice funnel for New Teammate, but my hope is it's actually profitable on its own. But we don't know that yet. For me, Product Hunt is kind of the best way to validate an idea, and some people definitely disagree with me on this. I think for every piece of advice, there are people who are like, this is terrible, and then this is the only way to do it. It's just kind of how it happens because people have different entrepreneurial personalities. I think if you have a good or better product, you've got decent or better marketing and messaging around that product, and you have a low bar for sign up, like it doesn't cost a whole bunch, or you're giving a good discount, or you even are giving it away for free, which is what I'm doing. If you have those things and you don't get a lot of traction from Product Hunt, something's probably not right. And I think the more you do this, the more there is kind of a gut feeling if you're on the right track. When I was building the precursor to Mailshake, which was called Connector, I had this really strong feeling that we were on the right track, even when we're just building it. And then when it went well and we did Mailshake, basically because that experiment worked, I felt really solid as I was building it, like, oh, this is definitely something people want. There's that gut feeling that I've been working on refining over the years and trusting, and I'm looking for that feeling right now with this launch. Not just people liking it, but that real desire that they want to invest themselves in the product. Third goal is to seed the audience for my whole build in public project and for New Teammate, which is the main idea that I'm working on and I don't have an audience for. So I want to get that high intent email list so I can build pilots for New Teammate, and so that future product launches, like maybe if I do another side project, I'm going to have more of a starting audience. So those are the goals. The potential outcomes, this could be all over the map, right? The best case scenario would be a bunch of usage and comments that show people are hungry for this. They don't just like it, they really want it. especially if the use falls into one of the 3 niches that I picked: job seekers, sales reps, and Airbnb hosts. Or if some niches show up from the comments that, oh, okay, people are really circling around this part of the usage, why don't I double down on that? If this outcome were to happen, this would lead me to immediately build the payment system for Snaptro and to keep working on Snaptro while new teammate just keeps waiting. So best case scenario, Snaptro does great and it becomes possibly profitable in its own right. The medium scenario would be a solid amount of signups and comments, but missing that sort of obvious, oh, people just love this kind of sentiment. I think in this case, I'd still build the payment system, but instead of doubling down on the time of Snaptro after doing that, I'd probably come back to it sporadically, because if it's not really showing me just that big hunger, like I mentioned, it's probably not worth distracting myself for now. And another outcome, of course, is that it just doesn't go that well. We have a weak showing. If we don't get much traction, or the comments that we get are mostly just people being nice, this is probably an indicator that no one wants this right now. I wouldn't rule Snaptro out if that happens. It's still possible that, it's just not quite messaged properly, but we'd probably want to just keep the lifetime free deal open and just let the organic traffic build while we do something else. So in the past, you were always told to go find a hunter, which is somebody who lists your product on Product Hunt. Somebody who's kind of got some influence. That's been kind of debunked as no longer, the way Product Hunt works. You can do your own submissions, and by doing that, you get control over the launch. You can kind of make sure the thumbnails are in the right order, and just if you need to make edits, you're in control of that. I've decided to do that, even though I know some hunters that would probably help me. For this launch, I think I'm going to choose July 26th. Mark it in your calendars. I wanted to do next Thursday, actually, because I'm just desperate to get going. I'm so excited right now. But I'm taking a mini vacation that weekend, and after you do a Product Hunt launch, you really want a clear calendar, because that first day it's going to spike up, and then there's going to be a pretty quick decline, but there's going to be a handful of days there where you could have a lot of comments to deal with and just nice feedback to work with, and you really want to be there on top of it when that happens. I'm planning on doing a few YouTube lives during the day of my launch, so please keep your eye out, and if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe right now and click that bell icon so that you can get my notifications for this. I've never done a live before, but it sounds really fun for a Product Hunt launch day, and I hope that you join me for that. Okay, so here's what I've been doing to prepare for the Product Hunt launch. It's actually quite involved. You really want to make sure, I think, you have everything ready before you choose your date for the launch, because I think as you get going through creating all this content and getting things ready, you might find, oh, I need to do this before you actually schedule your launch. You want to be ready. So I got a collection of articles I found. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There are hundreds of articles about how to prepare for a Product Hunt launch, and I only just grabbed a couple in here. First thing I did was started on the page content. What am I going to title this? What's the tagline? What's the description? So it's Snaptro 60-second video introductions, I feel like, is the most concise way to say what this app does. You don't want to be too salesy, I don't think, in the tagline. You want it to be like, people get it from that, right? The description is record a video, add links to what you're working on, and voila, you have a free Snaptro page. Specific use cases detailed for sales reps, job seekers, and Airbnb hosts. And then the big one is the maker comment. This is the first comment on the page that whenever you do launch, that kind of explains the history, why you're here, what the product does. And I really want to dig into my story, my building in public story, as well as like why I'm building Snaptro. Also, because I'm running everything on Replit and Airtable right now, which is cost me just $7 a month. It's also very possible that enough usage is going to make my app seem slow. It's a really easy fix. I just need to put in production database infrastructure, but I don't want to do that until I know I've got a product that I can circle in on. I'm telling people that, being super transparent, because I think people will like that I'm kind of taking that risk. And then I made a checklist of the things I want to do. Thinking about doing a YouTube live for the day. So I need to test actually doing a live because I've never done that before. I want to post in this video that I'm going to be doing Product Hunt and trying to get you guys' help. Scheduling the post, finding a hunter. I've decided to do this myself. There are lots of ideas about which days to post, and general consensus is the weekends are the weakest and Tuesday through Thursday are the strongest. But it really depends on what product you're doing, because if you think you have a really strong product, you want to be in those busy days so that you can get a whole lot of traffic and compete. But you also risk being out competed, right? So picking like a Monday or a Friday could be a good strategy if you want like a better chance of getting the top. I want to make sure in my head, at least, I've got a roadmap of features that I'm planning, because I think people will be asking, like, what's next for Snaptro? And I want to be ready for that. So I've collected some things that I know I want to build. And then because of that whole Airtable thing I was mentioning, where there's some throttling and caching going on in the background to make this a seamless experience, I've been reading about how successful launches have gone for people and how many users they actually get from it. There is no general consensus, but some people have said 10K users, you get 10,000 users. That's crazy to me. One of the experts I read said you can get to 8 to 10K visits with an 8 to 10 conversion rate if it's free, which I am giving a free product. So that translates to about 1,000 users. But I ran some math because I have 5 requests per second and it takes me 13 database calls to sign somebody up. So how many requests per second am I going to be able to get before it just starts slowing down? And because there's potential here for my app to actually get quite slow if it gets slammed, I built in some messaging into the app that tells people as it's happening, hey, sorry this is taking so long, we're going to upgrade the back end. And let me show you what that looks like. So this is my local testing environment, and if I make a change to this, I've done a fake thing in the background where I'm going to make it wait 15 seconds. So if I'm getting really slammed, this is what people are going to see. It's going to be a little slow here, and it's like, what's happening? We got this, hold on a second, first message, and then if it gets really bad, let's see what happens next. So then we basically say, this is taking longer than we expected, we're getting higher demand, thank you for being patient, and here's a way to reach out to us so that if this just really happens and people are getting super bogged down, at least they have a way to get in touch with me. Okay, and then it's time for the assets for the actual page. So when you look at any kind of product hunt page, it'll look something like this. And you see the upvotes and you see the description, the title. I basically took a screenshot of somebody's app on Product Hunt and I started replacing the bits so I could see what mine is gonna look like. So I popped in my description, I played with it, I popped in my tagline, played with it, put in some screenshots to see how they're gonna look. So here's what I did to make this. I took my Twitter post. So whenever you post, share a link about Snaptro, it's going to put something like this in the social share, like the image of it. So I took that and I tweaked it for Product Hunt. And I said, okay, what are people really going to want to see here? It's this pseudo homepage all in one little image. This gives the sense of what the app is, and then I'm going to have 3 different screenshots for the specific niches that I've chosen, because I think people really want to know who is this for, and I've picked 3 types of people. And then I'm going to do something like this where I want to really show that with the Pro account, you can get subpages, unlimited subpages. So for me, when I was setting up the onboarding, I created a sub page for onboarding, a sub page for my survey that I'm sending out. I want people to see how easy it is to do that. And then when you go to Product Hunt on the day of, this is kind of what it looks like. And when you hover over somebody's product, the icon is going to animate a little bit. That's if you want to. You don't have to do that, but it really is nice. And it adds a nice bit of just polish to your product. So I wanted to do that too. So I started with my icon, and then I used Adobe Premiere to create a GIF of a profile coming in and out. So to show you what that looks like, maybe something like this. And the other thing I wanted to do was prepare the homepage for the badge, the Product Hunt badge you can put on your site. So if anybody's coming to your site outside of Product Hunt, they can see that you're on Product Hunt and maybe help upvote you. I added that. I took a screenshot of somebody else's badge and I added that here just to get it ready so that it can just swap that out and republish the page the second that I get it out there. Okay, next thing I want to talk about is customer onboarding emails. So when someone signs up for Snaptro, I don't want that to be the end of it. I want them to be nurtured through their onboarding process via email. So they come in, they sign up, they're excited. Hopefully they just immediately start using the account, but they might not. They might get distracted or might not know what to do. I'm gonna have an email that comes out pretty quickly after that says, welcome to Snaptro. Here's a YouTube video, specifically for the niche that they kind of opted into that says how to use it for that niche. And then over the next course of a week or two, send a couple more emails just indicating like, here's the way to make the best use of it. Here's how you make a killer video, that kind of thing. And at the end of it, I want a survey to see how people are enjoying the platform and engage with them. I've been back and forth about which platform to use to email my customers. I eventually chose MailChimp, and it's for a couple reasons. I've used it before, so I'm just comfortable with it. I've already used it in New Teammate and Snaptro to put people on the email list. They have the ability to send newsletters and onboarding emails, and the contact management where you can add people to groups and then do segmentation by that is really helpful. They're not the best. MailChimp pricing is a little bit expensive. It starts free, but then it really quickly goes up. And if you want to use the customer journey stuff, you really have to use standard, because Essentials gives you like 4 points on the journey map, which if you have an if statement, that counts as 1, and it just all of a sudden you need it. So we're at $17 a month for less than 500 contacts, and it goes up pretty quick. So I'm not super stoked about that, but at the same time, you can't evaluate these platforms forever. I checked out MooseSend, Customer.io, and some others, and there are a lot of promising options out there, but ultimately, you just need to get going, because you could spend your whole life, choosing between all these services. Just remember that as the startup grows, when you break into these different tiers, you're always going to have to revisit choices that you made. You want to try to minimize that, but you're going to have to revisit your scaling in your database. You're gonna have to revisit the marketing, tools that you choose. It's just part of it. The onboarding journey looks like this. So I've got people coming in, if they're part of the Snaptro onboarding group, which I will add them to on the API side of things, then they come into this customer journey, and then I've got my first, see, this is why MailChimp is just not the best at this. I have to actually pause my journey in order to make any kind of edits to the email and to show you guys the email. So that's crazy. But anyway, I've got a welcome email here with some YouTube videos. I got a 3-day delay, and then if they're still in that group, so if they haven't unsubscribed to that group, because people can easily decide they don't want to do this anymore, then I send them the next email, which is basically how to make a killer video, have good lighting, tips that I've learned from doing my YouTube channel. Another 3-day delay, got to check again to see if they're still in that group, and then send them another email about ways to use their link. And then finally, after another week, I'll send them like a survey that's like, please, fill this out for me. And when I was doing this, I realized I should use Snaptro to do this. So in Snaptro, I created a page for onboarding, and I created a page for my survey. So the onboarding page basically is my chance to say hi to people who come in here. Hi, this is Colin, founder of Snaptro. Thank you so much for signing up. And it made me realize that's a whole new use case. It's actually pretty cool, is app onboarding, because you can include, links to stuff that they wouldn't have necessarily seen, which is kind of great. And then for the product hunt launch, another thing I needed to get ready was some way for customers to reach out to me as support. So I put this help icon in here that's just an email address to me that I can use to collect feedback and problems and bugs. They got to have some way to contact me. Long term, I would use a service like Help Scout or something like that, which is a great service for dealing with support. But for right now, I just need an email address. And I want this to be a non-personal one, so I've chosen hello@gosnaptro.com. But I don't want to pay for 2 inboxes right now. I'm trying to keep costs super low. So here's what I've done. In Google Workspaces, when you sign up for it, you get a 14-day trial. So you have to wait for that trial to almost expire before you do what I'm about to say. But you can come in here and change your subscription to Starter, which is only $6 a user instead of $12 a user. But you don't want to do that till your trial runs out. So what I'm going to do is I've got one user in here, which is just myself. So I have Colin@gosnaptro.com, but I've created a group called hello@gosnaptro.com, which is basically just a way for people to email in, and it's going to go straight to me. I'm the only member of this group. And to make this work, you have to set your permissions so that external people can post. Another thing I needed to get ready is the privacy and terms. It's the, legal piece that's never really very fun, but you gotta have some things for some protection, and because people also expect that. There's this great service called Avodocs, which is free legal documents for startups. It's perfect. You kind of just walk through privacy, walk through your terms. As we grow, we eventually want to hire a firm to actually do our terms specifically to our use cases, but this is a really good general coverage place to start. And then back on New Teammate, I've got a lot of people coming into the product hunt from the launch. I really want them to find New Teammate, get on the list. This is the main goal anyway. So I really want to make sure the marketing here is as tight as I can make it. So you probably saw from my last videos, we got updated. I created a demo for this. I've updated the marketing, but I went another step at it, took another stab. And I created this reason why I built this, and really kind of dig into what is New Teammate and why do you need it. And for these points here, I really wanted to suss these out a bit and create images that really reflected each value proposition that I'm making. And then I also added a frequently asked questions section, basically for now, so that I can kind of give even more depth to how this is meant to work and how easy it is to use. And also to kind of hint at some kind of special features. It's high time that we took another kind of look at the budget that's going on for this. In the beginning of this, my very first video, I sort of said we were going to do this in $500, and then I later changed it to $1,000 budget. When you take out a couple of the one-time fees that I had to pay for like logos and stuff like that, it's gone beyond that. So I just want to be transparent about that and show you where the money is going right now. First of all, my virtual mailbox, I got to have a physical mailbox for the business because I don't want people to know my home address. That's $20 a month right now for me. I got Chase, costing me $15 a month just to have a checking account, which is annoying, but that's the way it is. My actual server costs right now are just about $12 a month, so that's great. Replit, which is actually technically how I'm running my server, is $7 a month. Adobe Premiere is just for me to create these videos, so it really has nothing to do with the startup, so I could technically factor that out, but this is just how I'm spending my money. Got a workspace account for New Teammate, a workspace account for Snaptro, been using Tweet Hunter, GitHub, Fathom Analytics, which is a privacy-focused and simpler version of Google Analytics. Uber Suggest is $29 a month, and then MailChimp is now going to be $17 a month. So when you add that all up, we're looking at, $180 a month. And I need to start pruning because I'm not making full use of all these services. The first on the chopping block is Tweet Hunter. Tweet Hunter is $49 a month, and there's some really interesting things in here, like the daily inspiration is fun, but I really like the engage keyword section where you basically find really interesting tweets that you can engage with. So it's a really fast way to engage with people. I love this feature. It's really great. Their compose window on the right here makes it very easy to write threads and has these fun options like auto retweeting and auto plugging if you get a lot of likes. And it's really useful, but am I getting $49 out of this? Definitely not. Not to mention that my Twitter growth has been very minimal so far. So whatever I'm doing, this tool is not quite helping me do it. And a big part of it is me for sure. But again, I'm trying to find ways to save money. This is probably one of them. So now I'm trying out Hype Fury, which is the thing I was interested in, when I was looking at Tweet Hunter. It's only $19 a month, and I'm actually really pleasantly surprised with it so far. The homepage and marketing for Hype Fury, in my opinion, is not very good, but the app is a lot better. So it's kind of the other way around. So that's going to bump me down from $49 to $19. That's a really big win. And then the next one is Uber Suggest, which is $29 a month, at least right now it is. I was using this because I was going to do some paid ads and try to validate the idea based on keywords. That was what kind of got me into this. It has some other nice features, but to be honest, it's a little clunky and hard to make effective use of for me. I'm not even doing ads at the moment anyway, so I've been looking at What's My SERP, which seems to be a better alternative for what I need, and it's a little bit cheaper. So yeah, by downgrading those two services and replacing Hype Fury in there and MailChimp as a new entry, we're gonna go down a little bit, but we're not gonna grow in the budget, so that's good. Yeah, it's just a good idea to keep tabs on this stuff early on and know exactly which services are recurring, because over time, you're gonna get lost. It's just gonna be crazy, like, what am I using? What am I not using? And it's just very easy to start your budget getting out of control. So I really want a tight grip on that. All right, that's it for this huge week. Next week will probably be a little bit slower because we're kind of just waiting for this Product Hunt launch to actually happen, but there'll be more prep going on. I'm gonna be spending some more time in Product Hunt discussions and kind of getting that vibe going a little bit, and also tweaking the offering a bit, making sure that my messaging is great for that launch day and getting everything just perfect. Okay guys, I will see you next week. Thanks.